Well, they're definitely, like, the Raiders fans are definitely not in Las Vegas.
Well, why would they be?
They wouldn't.
I don't know why a team like that shoots himself in the foot. I mean, what? Because maybe Oakland didn't want to build a new stadium? I have no idea why they moved. Okay? And the thing is that it's always about money. It's not about the fans. You know, the Raiders started in Oakland in 1960, okay? And they played in Oakland from 1960 to 1981. Then they moved to Los Angeles, okay? Then in 1995, they moved back to Oakland, okay? They played in Oakland from 95 to 2019. Then all of a sudden, now they're in,
Las
Vegas. And the thing is that majority of their years was played in Oakland. So it's like
Oakland's just
all
a bad city.
Their fan base is Oakland.
Well, Oakland, look at what is it, the Oakland A's or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, they're done. Just Oakland just can't keep a team.
But that doesn't make sense to me.
They just can't keep a team. They can't put money into it. They can't.
But
they can't build
why
something.
do you have cities like that? And it, like Steelers?
It's always been in Pittsburgh.
Well, they have the Pirates, the Penguins, and the Steelers. It's also the only city that all the sports teams wear the same colors. Black and gold. They all wear black and gold. And it's like you go to other cities and each team has like different colors. Steelers.
It's unified.
Pirates. Yeah, it is. We have excellent fans, and they travel very well. So when you watch that Raiders game, more than half the stadium was nothing but yellow flag.
Yeah, and I saw a video of, I think it was Najee Harris going to a hockey game because the Penguins just started, and he's like, I like how all the teams in Pittsburgh use the same colors, that black and gold or whatever.
Yeah, because it's like unity, and as bad as like the Pirates are, they still have plenty of fans. I'm one of them. And every year, it's like, towards the end of the year, I'm like, I'm so disgusted by it.
Well,
and then
this past year, they started out 5-0, and people.
Then spring comes, and you're like, maybe this is our year. So it's like you get all pumped up again. But But Steelers over the course of how many years, it's like we don't care about. We don't care about winning seasons.
Like 9-8.
Yeah,
we want to win a playoff game.
We want to go to the playoffs, and with the goal of winning the Super Bowl. That's what we are used to. That's our history.
Yeah, our history is winning.
Yeah,
our history is going to Super Bowls at least once a decade.
So we played the Raiders, okay? And I thought we did really well against the Raiders. And even though they have a decent team,
Yeah. Even though the Steelers went 32-13, I did not like that the Steelers didn't have a single touchdown pass. They didn't have they almost had a touchdown pass, but Justin Fields was past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And this was the second time where you were looking at Justin Fields and going, is that too far?
As long as it's kind of like getting a touchdown. As long as the tip of the football hits that white line, it's a touchdown. Well, the same goes with, throwing at the line of scrimmage. As long as your foot is touching that line of scrimmage, the rest of your body can be over that. As long as your foot's touching that line of scrimmage, it's not considered past the line of
I could tell just when I was looking at the play that he was past the line. He was far past.
Yeah, he was a good couple feet past the line. But even so, that would have been a touchdown.
And that would have been a pretty clutch throw. Like, it was pretty tight, that window.
But even so, I thought he played very well. Okay. I thought Najee Harris did
his best game
by far
this year.
That one play, I think it was second down.
It Are you talking about the one where he just like plowed through a bunch of people?
And
That
he was
was
carrying like 5 people on his
Yeah,
back.
I think it was 1st and 10.
He must have been giving piggyback rides to like,
But
because it's like, that's what it looked like. They were all like, he was moving the entire pile.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
how could you not tackle this guy?
you see him stopping 2 yards into it. Then he continues. And you see him stopping at about the 6 yards into it. And then he continues. And it just gets your blood. It makes the offense's blood going.
I said this at the beginning of the year, and I hate to be right, because most of the time I am. I said that the longer he plays the season, the better he gets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. I mean, the longer he plays within a season, he just seems to like just put in another level. You know, he just seems to accelerate to a different level. And I think you're going to see him even getting better towards the end of the season. That's what it was like last year and the year before. He just does that every year. And that, that touchdown play where he looked like he was Superman, from like, the 5-yard line.
And he jumps forward.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
a guy with determination to win. And we need that from every player on the team, that determination to win. But that's what I get from Fields. I just feel that. And the thing is that Fields, his biggest critic is Fields.
Oh, yeah. You see any of his interviews? In his one interview more recently about whether or not he or Russell Wilson would play, he ended up blaming himself, saying that we wouldn't be in this question of who's got to play quarterback if I only played better.
I know. And so from what we saw last year from 2 of our quarterbacks, Trubisky and Pickett, Fields is so much better.
And he thinks he's not enough.
And he thinks that,
like, he thinks the fan base is disappointed or something.
And he's hard on himself. I mean, he's just attacking himself. And it's like, man, you got to take it easy. You're better than you think you are. It's like, if you're really good and you're only going to grow, because he's 26. So he's only going to, he's only going to even get better. He's young still. And he's playing at a fairly high level, especially when he runs the ball.
Yeah.
But I really looked at Najee Harris though, and I thought sure that it looks like the MVP is going to Watt, or went to Watt, because he had 2 forced fumbles.
Yeah, he had 2.
But and Watt played great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he was without him on the field. We capitalized. How many did we capitalize both those fumbles? But I know that we capitalized on 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we I think we did both. I think.
Yeah, but I mean, and that helped us with the 32 points. I mean, but that was a dominating game. We dominated that game. They went down the first series and scored a touchdown, and I thought that was going to be a long game, but it ended up going in our favor. I mean, the Raiders, they really shot themselves in the foot in a few of those plays with roughing the passer.
They did that twice, I think.
Yeah, but besides that, you're always going to have that. I think the Steelers did much better with penalties this week.
And I think there was this other one where they almost got this 1 touchdown, but there was a legal man downfield or something like that. Or maybe it was like the end of the 3rd quarter. Something. And they really shot themselves in the foot throughout the entire game. Normally that's a Steelers job.
But to be honest with you, I mean, TJ Watt deserves a lot of rewards. But I really thought Najee Harris.
He really stepped up.
You
can really tell the difference between him playing, I think, what was it, against the Colts, where he only had like 19 yards or something. In this past week, he made up for the yards that he had against the Colts.
Well,
in just 1 play.
And the Dallas game, I mean, the Dallas has a really horrible run defense, and we couldn't do anything in that game. It seemed like, and it's like, but we ran all over the Raiders. So I thought that was a really good game, and you picked them lose.
Yeah.
But I picked them to win. But I would have picked them to lose. But I said,
they're supposed to.
my gut feeling,
They're supposed to lose.
my
so
gut
they're going to
feeling,
win.
my gut feeling says they're going to lose. Okay, because it was an away game. It was out west. We had to travel a lot. Plus there was a lot of other reasons. We haven't been playing well.
Yeah.
We lost 2 games in a row. We're going to lose again. But I ended up picking the Steelers because every time I go with my gut, I'm always wrong.
Yeah. And when I look at the stats here,
Mhm.
like, for the most part, it's pretty even. Like, total yards, the Steelers had 293. The Raiders had 275.
But we didn't.
The
Didn't we have
total
like
amount of plays is basically the exact same.
Did we have 189 yards rushing or something like that? What was
Rushing, we had 183.
it?
And the Raiders
183.
only had 57.
That
So
that
they
right there is the
actually
key.
held them back
Yeah, that's the
for
key.
the
The reason that's the key is anytime you can rush the ball, you control the clock. Okay, if you can control the clock, their defense is out on the field way too long, and that's where you can wear out their defense. And I think that's another reason why Najee Harris was like plowing these people over. These players.
Yeah, but I think one of the biggest problems is just our wide receiver room. Because if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and their passing, the Steelers only have 110 passing yards this past game, while the Raiders had 218.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have a problem with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that Roman Wilson got back into an injury. I think it was his hamstring.
Yeah, but we haven't even seen him play all year.
And
so
he only played like a couple snaps
to me,
this past game.
To me, he's unproven. He may not even be proven until next year because he's constantly hurt. It's like we need healthy players out there. And some of these players play through injury, but it's hard to do that when you're a receiver because you have to do cuts and run, and it's a lot easier when somebody's on the offensive line or defensive line. They can get taped up, things like that. But when you're a receiver, it's a lot more difficult because more is expected of you. You need to be mobile, and if you have an injury, you can't be mobile. So,
and I just felt like the Steelers continuously, played clean football this past game.
Yeah,
I didn't witness any major penalties that were against the Steelers that made the Raiders have a sort of advantage. It was actually the other way around.
Also, our defense did their job. Our offense still had trouble throwing, like you mentioned. Okay, we're not very good at the pass. Still having issues with that. Okay, but offensively, we still dominated that game, even if we didn't have the pass. But defensively, we finally got back on track because the last couple games, even though we only lost by 3 points each, but that when we played the Colts, we didn't come back until the very end. We didn't start scoring. The Colts really manhandled us majority of the game. And they shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's a game we should have won. But, Dallas, we should have beat Dallas too. What did Dallas lose last week? They were playing the Lions. It was a blowout. It's like
47-9.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
And I think it was in the Cowboy Stadium too.
Yeah. How do you lose 47-9 and we couldn't beat them at our field? Come on.
But
that's embarrassing for us.
The Steelers' offensive line is still just bad. We have a lot of people that are injured for the offensive line, so and now we have Zach Frazier, our center. He's out. Broderick Jones, man, I don't know what the heck he was doing, but I saw this specific play, and I can't remember what quarter. I think it was the first quarter. But he was just like standing there.
Yeah.
The league's too fast.
I remember that play. He was just standing up straight
as
the play happened around him, and he didn't even participate in the play.
Yeah.
He wasn't He wasn't, blocking anybody. Wasn't like, I mean, he
Yeah,
just
and
stood there.
this just shows how well Justin Fields is aware of his surroundings, because I don't know if it was a running play for him or not, but he made it look like it was, because the defense, like the edge rushers, got straight to Justin Fields, and Justin Fields seen it in the corner of his eye or whatnot, and he decided to run forward, and he gained at least 13 yards. So he turned that should have been a sack. And I almost guarantee you, if Russell Wilson was in there, he probably would have got sacked. But Justin Fields, with his running ability, he managed to be aware of his surroundings, and he knew when to run. He ran for it, and he actually turned that into a first down. And I think when it comes to our offense right now, Justin Fields needs to be in, because he needs to have that escape.
Yeah, let's just go back to Brock Jones for a second. Do you think his play is so bad that we shouldn't keep him?
I think that I would say the bench him, but I don't even think we have enough people to replace him. So we have to have him in.
But I mean, he's been playing so bad the entire season.
I would honestly get rid of him.
Yeah, because you need to get better as you play, not get worse. And he's just not doing very well at all.
Yeah, I would just.
I mean, penalties.
I'd have him be a backup. Okay, next year at the very most, have him be a backup. I wouldn't even start him. He's that bad. I wouldn't even hate if they ended up getting rid of him. That was a first-round bust.
Right now, he's still on a rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
So I would wait until that's up and get rid of him.
But he plays like a first-round bust. He has not shined at all in the last forever. Like, ever since this year started, he hasn't really shined. Every single game, there's at least one penalty. And that penalty would be on him.
Well, they actually took him out of the game because he had like 3 penalties in a row.
Yeah, he had 3 penalties. I can't remember what.
I don't remember the game.
I think that was the Broncos game.
And they took him out.
Because I remember a bunch of penalties on the Broncos game.
Yeah, they took him out because it was like...
And some of those plays were crucial. Some of them went down at least 40 yards. A 40-yard pass from Justin Fields. It gets called back. And even worse, because the holding call on Broderick Jones. I can't stand penalties on big plays. And this just seems like what Broderick Jones has been doing nonstop. He either doesn't try, or when he does try, it's a penalty. So I just wouldn't start him. And I agree with you. Once the rookie contract's over with, I'd probably get rid of the dude. I'd look for another person on the I'd look for another tackle, offensive tackle, this draft class. And I'd probably get it at like round 3 or something. Because I think the Steelers really need a wide receiver and a cornerback for this upcoming draft. Because like you've been saying all year, their secondary, the Steelers' secondary is just so bad. And I don't think it's because of the safeties. I just think that some of our
they're going to be tested.
Corners are bad.
They're going to be tested this upcoming week.
Yeah.
So the Steelers are playing the Jets.
Yeah, and the Jets just got Devontae Adams.
My question to you, because I don't know this, I guess I should know this. Are they playing in New York?
They're playing in Pittsburgh.
They're playing in Pittsburgh. But they just got, like you said, Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams.
And he was from the Raiders, right?
Yeah, he was part of the Raiders. He's probably like a top 10, top 5 wide receiver.
So for 2 weeks in a row, we're going to be playing against this
guy? Actually, he didn't play last week.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he supposedly had a hamstring injury.
Oh.
Okay, so he had like this hamstring
injury. Or was
injury,
he just holding out?
And then if you look at the now he's a full participant throughout the week.
Oh, come on. He just didn't want to play for them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure last week it said he was out because he had a hamstring, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, he's perfectly fine. Everything, he's healthy.
Well,
He just didn't want to play.
going into this week, Steelers are ranked 11th
Mm-hmm.
overall.
All right.
Raiders are, or not the Raiders, but the Jets are ranked 22 overall. I don't really, when it comes to power rankings, I think it all has to come up whether or not your team matches well. And I've said the reason we lost to the Colts is because the Colts match up well against us. Okay, that's 2 years in a row we lost the Colts. I think that that the Jets may actually match up well against us. That combination between their quarterback, Rodgers, and the new receiver, Adams, that might hurt us.
Okay. So hurt us.
Might.
I also, one thing you have to mention is Sauce Gardner, their cornerback. Okay, he's top 3 in the league. He's probably the best cornerback
that's what I mean.
in the league. Our wide receiver room's empty, so he's going to be covering George Pickens the entire time.
But here's the key: they could capitalize on our secondary being not that great. Okay, and we don't throw that well. Okay, so our pass offense is not great. Okay, but their run defense is not that great, where our run offense is pretty good and our run defense is good. So I think that when it comes to the run, I think we have the advantage on both ends of the ball. But yet I think they have the advantage on both ends of the ball when it comes to passing.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key. Hopefully we can control the clock.
And it just so happens, and you mentioned this earlier, it just so happens that this is the week that we're questioning who's going to be playing quarterback.
Yeah, and I read an article that says Tomlin's not saying anything. They actually said mum's the word. So he's not saying anything. But Pickens is sitting there going, it's going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he ends up saying, oh, yeah, me and Russell Wilson have been playing more snaps in practice than usual. So it really marks the question of who's playing, because it sounds like it's going to be Russell Wilson. Or is that just what they want the Jets to think?
Well, see, that's another key.
Because they're right now they're probably having the Jets. The Jets are probably looking at both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields play because they don't know. That's the thing here. They don't know who they're starting. Not even the fan base knows who the Steelers are starting. So that's got to mark the question to the Jets organization. Who do we study?
There's an article from Steelers Wire. I'm not quite sure who. Looks like this is part of USA Today. And it said, let Russ cook. So they're already saying Russell Wilson's going to be starting because it says let Russ cook. I'm not convinced that that's the person we should be putting in. Because if they have a bad run defense and Fields is so good at like last minute escaping in that might be who we want to put in there. Because they have you're going to put somebody who's been injured the entire year out there on the field, to throw down a field with who you said had they have a cornerback that's like 3rd in the league. You're going to put him in, an elderly man. I'm sorry, but he's past his prime, with a secondary that's like ranked very high within the top like 3 of the league.
You're going to have to travel down to Mike Tomlin and let him know this. But I don't think Mike Tomlin, it's always up in the air with Mike Tomlin. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts
it's not
Russell Wilson.
But it's not like Fields has been terrible. He doesn't suck.
Well, that's it.
He's been playing very well. The 2 games that we have lost, we lost by 3 points.
I wouldn't say
no help from our defense.
I wouldn't
our
say
defense
Justin.
sucked.
I wouldn't say Justin Fields is playing like lights out, just downright phenomenal, but he hasn't been playing terrible. He hasn't been playing bad.
No.
I say he's playing above average. He's an above average quarterback right now.
We're 4-2. We won last week, 32 to what? What was the score? 32-13 or 32 to what?
This past week?
Yeah.
Yeah, 32-13.
So we won 32-13. The 2 games we did lose, we lost by 3 points each.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No help from our defense because that Colts game, our defense completely sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We did play better last week. Not last week, week before when we played Dallas. Now that Dallas game we should have never lost. Okay.
Yeah.
Offensively, we sucked in that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Defensively, we actually played pretty good. We had a few turnovers. So and on special teams. Okay. Blocked field goal.
Mm-hmm.
We should have won that game. That's the only game that we played bad. But we still lost only by 3 points. Okay. Even though we played bad. We played very good with Fields. Now you're going to throw somebody else in there that hasn't thrown a ball since last season in a game, who's beyond his prime, who's untested, could get injured like that in the first quarter.
And the Steelers' offense would have to reset their momentum essentially because you have Justin Fields in there for the past several games. They're used to it.
Yeah,
they have they're starting to build a feeling towards him and his play style.
But on here it says rely on the screen game. We haven't really done that many screens this year.
They suck at screens.
It's like, what do you mean rely on the screen?
The Steelers aren't good at screens. They don't know how to develop screens.
Who writes these articles? Target the middle of the field. Now, I agree with that because if they have good corners, then if you're going to throw it in the middle field, and that's again where Calvin Austin's going to come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I think he can take advantage of that. We haven't been doing a lot of that, but when we do, it goes for big plays. Slow the pace down. I'm like, and that's going to happen in the running game. Okay, but nowhere in here, and that was the fifth one. That's the thing that should have been the first on that list. We need to run the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Like we did in the last game against the Raiders. Because defensively, the Jets do not have a good run-stop game. Not bad, but they're ranked pretty much towards the bottom of the pile when it comes to run defense. That's what we need to capitalize on. We didn't capitalize on that with Dallas. We need to capitalize on that with this game. And like you said, it is at home, right?
Yeah, it is at home. But I also noticed that Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren are going to be playing this week.
Okay, that's good. That's good news.
Like for the longest time, it was just
is any of our
Najee Harris.
How about defensively? Like Highsmith or any?
Well,
is anybody?
It says DeMonte KZ. He's one of the safeties. He had an ankle, but he was he fully participated on Friday.
But what about
linebackers? Says he's questionable.
How are we looking at linebackers?
It says that like Alex Highsmith, one of the edge rushers, it says that was a full participant for Thursday and Friday, and it says that he's supposed to be playing.
Okay, that's
so
good.
Alex Highsmith should be playing again. Nick Herbig will not be playing. He ended up getting injured last week, I think. But besides that, our defense is looking healthy.
Okay, good.
Like they're for the most part, they look like they're ready to go. They're ready to step it up. And my biggest question is
Fitzpatrick's good? Didn't he get a little tweak last week?
Yeah, but he went back in.
Okay.
But my question is, for the last I actually don't know if the Cowboys ended up scoring on their first drive. But I know the Colts scored on their first 2 drives. They scored 2 touchdowns. Okay?
That's because our defense couldn't do anything.
Yeah. This Raiders game, the Raiders scored a touchdown on their first drive. So is the Steelers defense going to do the same thing and just like not wake up for the first quarter? Or will they start like that? Will they wake up? Will they actually play defense the entire game.
I think they need to get at Rodgers. They need to shaken him up.
They need to make him afraid of his Achilles.
Yeah, they need to shake him up because.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, I remember there were really good quarterbacks that we played in the past, and even though I'm trying to think of that Cincinnati quarterback, Dalton, was it Dalton?
I can't remember. Are you talking about that one video or what?
Well, it seems like every time, like he got shaken up. Like he didn't play very well when we'd get after him, and it would get into his head.
Yeah, I remember seeing this one video of what was it? Troy Polamalu catching an interception, and Troy ended up hitting the whoever the Cincinnati's quarterback was, and he said his arm never went back to normal since then.
No, okay.
Or something.
That might have been.
I think I remember.
That might have been Dalton.
I remember seeing that video, and you know, I think the Steelers defense just needs to really scare Aaron Rodgers. They like you said, they need to jump on him.
They need to be in his face. And I remember there was one game that we played against the Patriots, and we did that to the
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. We did that to Tom Brady. I couldn't think of the name.
only the greatest quarterback
ever. But yeah, I remember there was a game that we did that against him, and then the entire game, it was completely off. He was off his game, his rhythm. He was off his rhythm for the entire game. So, I'm just in the back of my head. I can't remember what game that was. I want to say that it was towards the end of the season, but that was a while ago. But that's what we need to do to the Jets. Because
on this list for Aaron Rodgers, it says that on Wednesday, he didn't participate in practice because he had an ankle injury. But Thursday and Friday, he fully participated. So that makes me question.
Yeah, but he's so old.
Oh, yeah, I know he's old.
Is he 38?
Trust me, I know he's old.
38?
I don't even know. His wrinkle should say it.
I'm
not asking him to get injured or something. But
why would you
afraid at the very most?
Let me see. He's 40.
He is an old
40.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be his last year. Just
40?
because Aaron Rodgers hasn't been playing his best football. He's been throwing interceptions. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been playing his best.
Come on, Jets.
I wouldn't be surprised if this year might be his last.
Why would you put somebody 40
as a starter? And from what I can think of, no backup. They got rid of what was it? Was his name Zach Wilson? I think that was his name. I can't remember. But they got rid of him, threw him on the Broncos. So it's like, who does the Jets have?
But Aaron Rodgers, he got injured last year. He was out the entire season. Did
you see his highlight reel?
Yeah, it was like
him. It was him carrying the flag out. But no, seriously, Aaron Rodgers is just the Steelers' defense.
Yeah, but
it's gotta scare him.
How many year contract did they give him? What was his contract?
I don't know. It's probably a year-to-year contract.
Oh,
probably. I don't know, but
it's like
I don't know.
Why would you do that? Aaron Rodgers makes an average of $37.5 million a year on a deal which voids after 2025. Really? The amount of quarterback you can get for that, or you could put other money into other players.
Yeah.
Gosh, boy, they must have more money to throw around than. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. And then he don't even play last year, and he's hurt this year. It's like, oh my goodness, he could get hurt like that. When you're 40, I mean, your muscles just don't work the same. My goodness.
Yeah, but I'd say the biggest worry for the Steelers is how well the Steelers' secondary will be when it comes to their defense. because the Jets have Garrett Wilson, and now they have Devontae Adams.
And maybe that's what they're thinking with. Maybe that's what they think with putting Russell Wilson in. Maybe it's because they feel like we need a spark in our
we need to do something
passing game, and maybe he can provide that spark. But even Russell Wilson's pretty old. What is he? Maybe that's who I was thinking was 38. Let me look it up because I'm not sure what these ages.
But
Russell Wilson's 35.
Yeah,
so,
he's 35.
I mean that's not 40, but that's still getting up there. Some of these quarterbacks retire at that age. So it's like, I mean, just with Russell Wilson being hurt, when you get up and past the age of like 32, I mean, things start breaking down a lot quicker.
My thing is, like, now I know this is a Mike Tomlin quote, how he does his quotes, but the Steelers are already cooking, so why change the recipe?
Well, that's the one thing I don't understand. I could see if we struggled, but we just won the last game 32-13. It's like
you don't change the recipe.
Where's the struggling at? Yeah, we're 4-2. We're ranked number 11. We're a lot better than we were last year. I mean, we do have some really tough games coming up, and we could literally end up with a losing season. I mean, we have some tough teams we're going to play.
Yeah, I think after this, after the bye week is when things are going to really
every team we play
hurt the Steelers.
Is going to well, other than the Browns.
Oh yeah,
other than the Browns, we have a lot of tough teams that
they've been so bad. I forget that
they can't do it. I feel for them. They can't ever. It seems like they get a good player and then that player never pans out. It's like, especially when it comes to their quarterback play.
Well, the quarterback that they get, it's probably one of the worst trades in history. Me and my friend were just talking about it yesterday, just how bad the trade deal was with their quarterback. But let's question who's going to win this week. Okay. I think we talked enough about the Jets.
You always go first.
I always go first. That way you can whether agree or disagree with me. I think this is a tight race here. I think it comes down to who the Steelers are going to put in as quarterback. I think if Justin Fields is put in, I think the Steelers are going to win. If Russell Wilson's put in, I'm not sure. But I have faith that the Steelers will put Justin Fields in just because I think he's been playing decent enough to play. And I know that there's this trade deal going on with Justin Fields and whether or not he plays more than half the snaps, the Steelers will have to give up a 4th round versus if he plays less, the Steelers give up a 6th. I say just let Justin Fields play.
Well, I think they're going to play Wilson. I think that's the reason why Pickens has most of the snaps with him. I think that's the wrong decision.
Oh yeah, I do.
I don't.
It's
I
the
think
wrong decision too.
That may improve our passing game. I don't think our running game's going to change. But I think the key here.
Who do you think's going to win?
I think the key here is that we need a mobile quarterback in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Russell's not going to be mobile like Fields is going to be. And I think that's the extra player on the field that you need is his mobility.
Yeah, it's that layer.
And the Jets do not have a good run defense. And I think that if Fields is in there, that gives us an extra chance.
It sounds like you're picking the Jets to win.
No.
Oh, you think the Steelers are going to win with Russell Wilson?
My gut.
Your gut.
My gut tells me to pick the Jets. But as you know, Every time I go with my gut, I'm wrong.
So me and you are picking the Steelers.
I'm picking the Steelers to win.
All right.
So you're picking the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm picking the Steelers because I think they're probably going to play Justin Fields.
Okay.
I
don't think they're going to play.
They might play Russell Wilson, and if they do, I'll just throw this brick at the TV. But
my guess, and I just have a funny feeling that Russell Wilson will start, but he'll probably end up getting injured. I don't want him to, but it just, I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers gets injured. Okay.
Yeah,
I think they're two
old quarterbacks playing against each other.
But my gut tells me the Jets are going to win. But every time I go with my gut, I'm not doing very good this year.
Yeah.
And last week I went against my gut and I ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So but with that all said, I think it's going to be a very close game.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be a close game.
I think it's probably going to be like 24-21. I don't know if you would consider that high scoring. It's not 47 points. But I don't think it's ever going to be like a 47-9 like the Dallas and Lions game. I mean, Dallas was embarrassed.
Yeah.
But that's what I would go with. All right.
So is that it?
Yeah.
End in prayer?
Yeah. We're close.
All right. Lord, I pray for all the players that will be playing this week, and this was on my mind all week, but I pray for Aiden Hutchinson. I know that he had a really bad injury against the Cowboys, and I just pray that his leg heals up very well, and just I pray that his pain in his leg, because I guarantee he has a lot of pain. I just pray that it will heal up fine, and that he'll there's no complications, and he'll hopefully get back on the field. Lord, that I pray that you heal him and everything. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. See you next week when we go over who they play next.
They play the next week. I think they play the Giants. Okay. I believe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll see you.
Okay, see you.